You know, Attack on Titan starts out as a pretty simple story. It's humanity versus these giant, terrifying monsters. But by the end, it becomes something so much deeper and, honestly, so much more brutal. It's a story about war, freedom, and what it even means to be human. And to really get it, to really understand how we got from point A to point B, we have to ask one single haunting question.
This is it. This is the question that sits at the very heart of the entire series. It's all about the journey of a young boy who wanted nothing more than to save the world, and who, in the end, decided to burn it all down. To figure out how that happens, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning.
So let's talk about Eren Yeager. When we first meet him, he's just a kid. He's intense, he's stubborn, and he is fiercely determined. But then, in a single moment, his entire world is just shattered. And after seeing something no child should ever see, he makes a promise born from pure, raw rage.
And who's he talking about? Well, he's talking about the Titans, of course, the mindless giants that ate his mother right in front of him. From that moment on, that vow, that becomes his entire reason to live. It sounds heroic, right? A righteous crusade against the monsters that have caged his people.
But this is where the story takes its darkest possible turn. The boy who swore to kill every last monster, well, he ends up committing the single biggest act of genocide in his world's history. And he doesn't wipe out Titans. He wipes out billions of human beings. I mean, this isn't just a change of plans. It is a complete, horrifying inversion of everything he stood for.
And you know, there's that famous quote. It perfectly captures Eren's entire tragic journey. The show is basically a long, brutal warning about this very idea. It's asking us, can you really fight something that's pure evil without becoming that evil yourself? To even begin to answer that, we have to understand the world that made him.
For the first big part of the story, the world of Attack on Titan seems, pretty black and white. It's a desperate fight for survival. Simple. Except that entire reality, their entire world, is built on top of a massive lie. I mean, just try to imagine that. Living your whole life inside a cage, being told that you are all that's left of humanity. Those walls, they were safety, sure, but they were also ignorance. Fear was just a part of daily life, and the world outside was this terrifying, absolute unknown.
And then, the basement. This discovery in Eren's cellar is the pivot point for the entire story. It changes literally everything. Suddenly, they realize they aren't fighting some kind of natural disaster. No, they're just pawns in a war that's been going on for 1,000 years. Their monsters weren't random. They were created, and their enemy has a human face.
But the truth? Oh, the truth was so much more horrifying than they could have ever imagined. That line they thought existed between man and monster, it didn't just get blurred. It was never there to begin with.
This is just a gut punch of a twist. Every single Titan the Survey Corps had fought and killed, every friend they had lost trying to kill these monsters, was actually one of their own people. Eldians, turned into weapons by the outside world. They had been slaughtering their own kin for 100 years and had no idea.
And the betrayal got deeply, deeply personal. Their friends, the people they trusted, fought with, bled with, they reveal themselves as the masterminds behind all the suffering. The monsters weren't just outside the walls. They were sleeping in the very next bunk. And with that one simple realization, the entire moral foundation of the story just crumbles into dust. So, who's the real monster? What do you do when your friends are the enemy, and the enemy is actually your own people? All right, so this is where the story goes from a war drama to this mind-bending, philosophical tragedy about fate. Because you have to understand, for Eren, the future isn't some open road of possibilities. It's a prison. And he's in solitary confinement, locked in a cell built from visions of a future that he absolutely cannot escape.
So the Attack Titan that Eren has, it has this unique, frankly terrifying power. It doesn't just let him see memories of the future. It lets him influence the past. This creates a paradox, a closed loop where time isn't a line, it's a circle. So Eren isn't just watching the future happen, he is actively making it happen. He is completely alone, a slave to a script he's forced to write himself, knowing every single terrible word before he even says it.
And those are his own words. He's trapped. Every move he makes, every choice he has, it isn't a choice at all. He's just an actor playing his part in a tragedy that's already been written. He's powerless to change it, because he's the one who causes it. all because he saw that every other possible path led to an even worse fate for the people he loved.
And then we get this. This is the single most devastating, most unforgivable reveal in the story. Using his powers from the future, Eren reached back into the past. To make sure he would start down this path of hatred, he influenced a specific Titan to ignore another soldier and go straight for his own house, where it would kill his mother. The very event that created the hero was an atrocity committed by the monster he was always going to become. He carries that weight all alone.
So the big question is, if Eren's path was set in stone, if he was forced to do all this, did it work? Did he at least achieve his goal? Did he finally break the cycle and give his friends true freedom? Well, the story's final answer on that is incredibly dark. Really, Attack on Titan is structured like an Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. It's a perfect metaphor. It's a story that consumes itself. Every act of violence just plants the seeds for the next war. Every quest for revenge just creates new people who will one day want revenge of their own. And even Eren's insane, world-ending plan, the rumbling, couldn't break that one fundamental rule. He wiped out 80% of all life to try and end the world's hatred for his people. But in doing so, he became the ultimate boogeyman, the absolute proof that they were right to hate his people all along. He ensured the survivors would never, ever forgive.
And the manga's final pages really drive this point home. We see that the peace his friends get is only temporary. Generations later, paradise is bombed back to the Stone Age in another war. And then, thousands of years in the future, a lone kid finds a tree that looks disturbingly familiar, just like the one where the Titan power began. The cycle isn't broken, it's just waiting to start all over again.
In the end, Attack on Titan doesn't give us any easy answers. It's a tragedy, a story about the terrible, terrible price of freedom and the fact that we might all be prisoners of history. And it leaves you wondering, maybe the real monsters were never the giants outside the walls. Maybe they're the cycles of hatred that we can't seem to stop carrying inside ourselves.